Well, Australia's largest ports operator, DP World, gradually began resuming services today following a cyber attack on Friday, which forced it to shut down its terminals. This morning, the stevedore began allowing trucks back onto its sites as the company begins to clear the backlog of more than 30,000 containers which have stacked up. Joining me now on set is Paul Zalai, the head of the Freight and Trade Alliance. Paul, thanks for your time. First up, how does a cyber attack like this happen? Are they common on ports? We don't seem to hear about them very often.
Oh, look, we haven't seen it before, but it doesn't come as a real surprise. We had a report come out from the federal government just a week ago talking about critical infrastructure and focusing on supply chains. The government, to their credit too, they're doing a whole series of webinars and information sessions this month for the supply chain sector, really focusing on SMEs. So there's been a lot of talk, but we didn't expect that it was going to come and hit us so quickly.
DP World says operations are slowly resuming. I think about 5,000 containers are expected to be shifted off the ports today, but the backlog of 30,000 containers, what sort of timeline do you think it's going to take to clear that?
Look, yeah, it's definitely a good news story. We were very anxious over the weekend, not knowing how long it was going to take. So that they were up and running in some way, shape or form today is fantastic news. Look, it may take them several weeks or months to really get on top of this. We're already seeing that some of the shipping lines have already blanked or cancelled some of their voyages because of the cyber incident or potentially because of the protected industrial action that DP World are also facing from the unions.
DP World's ports, they shut down on Friday, but didn't really hear about it in the media till later in the weekend. I know Optus last week were savaged for providing a little trickle of information out to the media when their network was down. You think DP World should have been a bit more proactive getting the message out there?
Yeah, look, we were aware at about midday on Friday that there was a problem, but we didn't know what the problem was. So, it's not unusual for systems outages unscheduled to happen or major equipment failures. So we weren't too alarmed at that stage, but when the incident was dragging on into the afternoon and then late in the evening we got the official advice, we realised we were in for a bigger issue. What was concerning for us, similar to the criticism from Optus, is while we got some broad information from their corporate headquarters, we didn't really get enough practical information. So even with the systems up and running and gates opening this morning, we didn't know about it. So it took a bit of time for scheduling and to vessel transport operators to get in a position to take advantage of those gates opening. So I think they could have done better with a bit more information to the industry.
How busy is it right now for the ports? Is it really ramping up as we get into the Christmas season?
Yeah, look, it is. It's the traditional peak season. I suppose if you call it a blessing, we've had a bit of an economic downturn, as you no doubt know. Container volumes are down. So it's probably a less of an issue than it would be, say, this time last year or in previous years. But still a significant time. It is a peak time. We were concerned, again, in the lead up to Christmas, what this would be. But hopefully, the cyber incident now looks as though it will be largely addressed. Importers should be okay. The bigger issue seems to be on the exports. We've heard, again, unofficially, but third hand through our members, that exports could be held up for another 2 weeks. So that's going to have devastating impacts on that sector.
And what's the industrial action that's ongoing with DP World and its workers at the moment as well?
Yeah, look, again, paying conditions, and without getting into the detail of it, I don't know the detail of it, but I can explain, the consequences of it. It is severely impacting industry. We've got a situation where DP World would normally take 2 days to turn around a vessel to load and unload containers. It's now taking 6 to 7 days. Now, you compound that around the country, it's got huge impacts. Now, the shipping lines, they're not going to muck around with this. They're going to, and they already are, bypassing some ports. So if you've got your container load of goods due for Sydney, you may find that Sydney gets bypassed, gets discharged in Melbourne, and you've got to work out how to get that cargo back to destination. So big issues there. But again, our exporters. So they need a level of predictability to move high volumes of containers from our regional centres by rail to the port, and they don't know if the vessel's going to be there.
And last year there was industrial action as well with the Svitzer tugboat operators. Is that concluded?
Yeah, that's concluded. Interestingly, though, DP World have had a change of CEOs. in recent times. So the previous CEO of Svitzer was actually ex-Maersk. He's now heading up DP World. So I don't know if that's inflamed the situation, a bit of a red rag to the bull. But the Svitzer situation seems to be settled, but now DP World's the next frontier. And we've got other agreements due in the coming months and year with the other stevedore. So it'll be some fascinating times and something that really needs to be addressed to give Australian shipping and trade a better reputation.
Paul Zalai, thanks so much for your time.
Okay, thanks, Ed.